Hi everyone! Today I want to talk to you about the differences between Enneagram 5 and Enneagram 6. So basically I'm continuing my series that I started a while ago with respect to comparing different Enneagram types. Today we will be narrowing down on the core differences between these types. So all about that in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. So Enneagram 5 is also known as the investigator, whereas Enneagram 6 is also known as the loyalist. In terms of the core fears and core desires, which we know is a central element when it comes to the Enneagram of personality theory, the core differences here are that Enneagram 5 is a type that has a deep fear of not being competent or useful. So because of that, their main desire, of course, is to be competent and to be useful. In contrast with that, Enneagram 6 has a core desire of not being able to have support. Their core fear is to not be able to have support, so the desire is to find safety and security for themselves, to create that support system for themselves. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing because Enneagram 5 is also a type that is part of the thinking triad like Enneagram 6, meaning that both of these types are concerned with safety and security, but they do it in slightly different ways. Enneagram 5, being so focused on being competent and useful, they are very much interested in making sure that intellectually they have all the knowledge and they have all the expertise. This is why the stereotype associated with this type is that Enneagram 5 will spend a lot of time doing research, learning, becoming experts in a particular field. So with respect to this particular behavior, what we notice is a tendency that Enneagram 5 has to make sure that they become a competent expert in something, because through that strategy, they feel like they can actually be able to create safety for themselves. They think, well, if I have the skills, if I have the expertise to do something really, really well, I'm the go-to expert in that field, or I'm someone who's extremely competent, extremely good in that field, then I can support myself, I can support the people that I love, and so on and so forth. But a lot of the times, a lot of this focus is very intellectual, because Enneagram 5 often struggles a little bit with putting themselves out there or getting in touch with a concrete reality. They tend to spend more time in their heads, analyzing things, learning things, mastering things. So a challenge for them to overcome can be this contact with reality. Enneagram 6, on the other hand, is also concerned with safety and security, and sometimes we can also see them being, very interested in learning, studying, getting very good at something. But on a deeper level, Enneagram 6 is much more afraid that they cannot find safety and security within themselves, therefore they have to find it elsewhere. They have to find it in their relationships, they have to find it in certain belief systems, or in certain jobs, certain, communities, environments, and so on. Which is why they are called the loyalist, because being loyal, being dependable, they ensure that they create this kind of like a social contract where they are loyal to their family, or they are loyal to, the church or to the company they work for. Of course, this depends on the person. But they create this loyalty towards other things or other people or other systems. So this makes them feel safe in a certain way, because they feel like, well, if I am a loyal, employee for a company, then it is more likely that the company will not let go of me and provide me with safety and security. If I'm a loyal, husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, then it is less likely that my partner will leave me. And hence leave me without support. If I am a loyal member of my community, it is less likely that my community will let go of me and leave me without that safety and security. So while for type 5, the struggle is to actually, take everything from their minds and put it out there in the real concrete world, for type 6, it's actually this belief that I can actually create safety and security for myself. I don't have to wait for external people or things to do that for me. Another core difference between these two types lies in their approach towards meeting their needs. Enneagram 5 is a withdrawn type, whereas Enneagram 6 is a compliant type. This means that Enneagram 5 has a tendency to withdraw from people in order to meet their needs, whereas type 6 has a tendency to move towards people to meet their needs. So what this means is that type 5 individuals find it much easier to just kind of isolate in their own world, in their own imagination, to spend time with themselves on their own in a more introverted fashion. And this really helps them to kind of get their energy back, meet their own needs, and so on and so forth. Whereas Enneagram 6 will do it by actually complying with the expectations that other people have of them. So they will be more focused on anticipating other needs, sacrificing themselves for other people, helping, supporting others, being reliable, being dependable, being of support to their community, to their group, and so on and so forth. So this is a pretty strong difference that we can notice between these two types. And another one, which is also related to a different triad classification system, is related to how these types deal with conflict and with emotions. So Enneagram 5 is a competency-focused type, whereas Enneagram 6 is a reactive type. And again, I think this one is pretty clear when you look at people across a wider or longer period of time. Enneagram 5 individuals who are more competency-focused, they are more likely to actually try to find ways to stay objective, detached, logical, in control. So it's not that they don't want to deal with their emotions. Maybe sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but rather they prefer to deal with conflicts, to deal with problems rationally. They prefer to leave the emotion out of the equation and to actually focus on getting things done, making sure things are done appropriately, that people think rationally when they make decisions, and that the logical aspects are being taken into account. Which is why type 5 is actually very common among thinker types if we kind of cross-reference with MBTI. Not always, but a lot of the times INTPs, ISTPs, INTJs, ISTJs are very much in this category. For Enneagram 6, on the other hand, they are reactive types. So this means they tend to have strong reactions on an emotional level and a behavioral level to things that happen to them. So if something is good and it makes them happy, they tend to show this emotion and they want to be happy and expressively happy about it. If something bad happens, they tend to also react negatively to that. And they also tend to have the expectation that the people that they love or the people that are on their side should have similar emotional reactions to things. I've actually often heard Enneagram 6s get upset at their partners or their friends or, I don't know, someone in their family because they were upset about something and then the family member or the friend or the partner did not reciprocate that feeling. So this felt kind of like a betrayal for the Enneagram 6. This is kind of a way in which this reactive pattern shows up, which is quite different from how Enneagram 5 deals with things. And like you've seen in some of my previous videos where I talk about correlations between MBTI and Enneagram, 6 is actually a type that is much more widely spread across the MBTI types. Probably 6 and 9 and 3 are the types that we can find most often associated with a wide variety of types. So while for type 5, this introversion and thinking paired together tend to be strong predictors that the person will have 5 somewhere in their top 1, top 2, top 3 types, Enneagram 6 is a little bit more difficult to pin down. I know people who are ENFJ type 6, ISTP type 6, INTP type 6, INTJ, ESFJ, ISFJ, INFJ type 6. So a pretty wide variety. It does tend to be more common in J types, type 6, but I also know quite a lot of P types, especially SP types, who also have 6 as a core type. So that's just an idea there for you to maybe think about the differences as well. So these were my thoughts on the main and most notable differences between type 5 and type 6. I hope this kind of clarified it for you and that you are now able to pinpoint some differences a little bit better. Also, for those of you interested, I also offer life coaching sessions and I have a newsletter where about once every 2 weeks I send articles with respect to typology and other personal development associated topics. You will find the link in the description below to find out more about the coaching and the newsletter. And as always, thank you for being with me, thank you for watching this video, and see you next time with another video on typology.